Okay, this is Kevin Reid here. I'm here with Xero's UK Managing Director, Gary Turner. Gary, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
We are live.
Great.
All exciting stuff on Periscope. What have you guys been up to today, and what are you expecting from tomorrow?
So this is our fourth time at Accountex. In fact, it's the fourth Accountex. And one of the most interesting things for me is not only is Accountex getting bigger every year, but the conversations are increasingly becoming about the cloud and about how practices are really now taking it seriously. I think Accountex 2012 or 2011, whatever the first one was, accountants were still not really getting the cloud, still not getting this whole new way of working online. And a lot of the conversations we had then were quite basic and quite rudimentary. What we have at Accountex 2015 is a different level of conversation, lots more people, lots more happening, and actually the conversation is much more sophisticated. And so we're talking about not about why you should move to the cloud and what the pitfalls are and where you should go, but how you should be rolling it out across your practice. So I think Accountex is a really good weather vane for how big this shift in technology and practices has become.
Okay, Gary, we've been talking about the cloud for years, and obviously there have been a number of practices that have moved towards the cloud over the years, or working in more online fashion. What type of clients are you seeing here? What type of clients are still looking to move, and what's actually precipitating that? What is driving that?
So there are 20,000, roughly 20,000 accounting practices in the UK. We now deal with 3,000 of them, and I think the people that are now coming to Xero for the first time are definitely more conservative than the ones that we would have been dealing with 5 or 6 years ago. And so I think what that says is that the middle majority, if you like, of practices that were perhaps waiting till other people worked out all the bumps and bumps and smoothed out all the teething problems are now realising that actually now's the time for them to be moving over to more cloud-based products, but also their clients themselves will be demanding that of them. And so we're seeing definitely different kinds of practices today than we would have seen 5 years ago. And for me, that's a really good sign, because that means that the cloud is really taking off. And I think in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll just see that really ramp.
What are those potential clients asking you, Gary? What are their concerns, or what do they hope that these products will do?
So I think they all accept now that the cloud isn't some kind of passing fad, that if they just waited long enough it will go away. So we're not actually having to convince them that they need to move to the cloud anymore. What they're asking are the practical steps about, well, how do I do it? How do I change my billing? How do I manage my work in progress? So it's much more of a practical conversation, because they now accept that they're having to move down that route, whereas maybe 3 or 4 years ago there was some skepticism. So I guess conversations are all, how do I do it? Should I go fast? Do I need to retrain my people? Do I need to change the way I do my billing? How do I have that conversation with my clients? It's a much more practical discussion.
Okay, we've had a question from the floor, or should I say someone that's actually watching the broadcast. Online tax accounting and the government's move towards that. What does that mean for you and for your accountants and clients?
So there's still a lot more information that HMRC have to share about the practicalities of that, but I think it's inevitable. I mean, online VAT filing has been a thing for about 4 or 5 years now. Payroll went online in 2002, and we now have RTI. And it just makes complete sense for everything that can be automated, that's on paper today, or on some old process way of working, should be automated. So it makes perfect sense to do it. Obviously, the government have said that they're going to be integrating the online tax account, digital tax accounts with software. And so there's some work we need to do with HMRC to get into the nitty-gritty of that. But I think it's great news, totally inevitable. And accountants that are worried about that coming down the line, it was going to happen sooner or later, and it's just a case of accepting it and taking advantage of it rather than being intimidated by it.
Okay, all right, wonderful stuff, Gary. I'm going to try and end this broadcast, which has caused me problems before today, but thank you very much.
Thank you.